But now back to our Reporter Slam competition with the vibrant Ugandan journalist and storyteller redefining how young audiences engage with the news. Her work sits at the crossroads of youth representation, cultural identity, agriculture, and media literacy, all driven by her mission to tell stories that reflect and empower the next generation. At Switch Africa, she creates dynamic content that reimagines what journalism can look like in a digital world, shaped by new voices and bold ideas. We are thrilled to welcome, from Uganda, Divine Mercy Nalwanga. Welcome on stage.
Hello, 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 hello. I actually had to pass the other side like this because in my culture, you're supposed to come in like that. How are you doing, guys?
Woo!
Okay, I like the energy. So please allow me. Mbaniriza mu kifo kino. Ndi musanyufu nnyo okuyimira mu maaso gammwe akawungeezi k'olwaleero erinnya n'eddoboozi yenze Divine Mercy Nalwanga. Akawungeezi k'olwaleero mu ddakiika 10 eziddako ngenda kufuba okulaba nga nkyusa engeri gy'otwalamu obubaka bw'osanga ku mutimbagano ssaako n'obubaka obukugambibwa mu bulamu bwo obwa bulijjo. Let's get into my presentation. So I am calling my presentation the extra passenger. How many of us just flew in for the Reporter Slam? Okay, have you seen one of these on the roads? Okay, that's nice. It's a good start for us because I'm sure the Ugandans know them. Now, this is a taxi. It is the cheapest means of transport if you're opting for a long distance. It carries 14 passengers, and those who just flew in, which airlines did you use? Okay, now this one is called Fly Emirates. Okay? So you know that you're in safe hands and your captain is taking you. So one of the experiences I've ever had with a taxi is a story that I'm going to tell you today. Now, for me to get here, I take at least 2 taxis on a daily. But on a normal day, I'll take 4 taxis in total. So one day, I boarded a taxi. It was coming from the new taxi park. And when it's coming from the new taxi park, it's usually full to capacity, yeah? But as we were getting out, we saw this young man. I don't know if I should call him young man because he looked like he was in his mid-30s. And he made this gesture stopping the taxi. I could immediately hear my fellow passengers murmuring because they knew the conductor was going to stop this taxi and let him in. But that meant that a certain row of people had to squeeze themselves just so this extra passenger could sit. Now, when he got in, the first thing he did, he greeted everyone. Usually when you get into a taxi, you greet the person closest to you. This person greeted everyone up to me that was sitting at the extreme end. He started a conversation with the conductor. Then by the time I started paying attention, it was a full-blown debate. And it was a debate about traditional schools and international schools in Uganda. Now, this is a very emotional debate when we are talking to parents, you know, and students themselves. But the thing that he did, he was talking a lot, and most of the information he was giving was misinformation and disinformation. I can't say what he said because I would become an agent. And the contributors were also contributing false information at some point. And when they did, he could ask them questions to a point that they realized what they were talking about was false. But when they tried to do the same to him, he played around with it, and in the end, no one got to him. So this was just a taxi of 17 passengers, if I add the driver and the conductor plus the extra passenger. But imagine the same spread of false information, but on the internet or in our daily lives. And this made me observe something. The false information peddlers are not magicians. They do not have witchcraft. They're just great storytellers, and they know how to tell stories in the right way. So they speak to your emotions. They create a sense of urgency. They are very authoritative. They will own every point they say, to a point that you won't even question them. They use short-form content for social media. They have very good hooks. Imagine you're in your bed scrolling through social media, and then you come across a video that says, here are 3 things you should watch, you should know before you go to bed. Aren't you going to watch that video? Of course you are. So now, did I mention that I love my culture? If my outfit does not say that, I don't know which other signs I can ever use. And some of the things I like to do, I love telling stories in my local dialect, which is Luganda, kubanga ndi muchala Muganda. And I work for Switch Africa. It is a youth-centered social newsroom. And here is a story that I am really proud of. Let's look at it.
Obadde okimanyi nti Charles Peter Mayiga amawulire g'okulondebwa ku bwakatikkiro gamusanga mu saalooni nga bamusala kaviiri ke kamunyumira okuzaama kaakati tuula kalira nkutereka emboozi ya munnabuddu eyasa.
In the interest of time, let me just stop it there. I'll refer you to where you can find the full video. So for me, what a musician would call a hit song, this was my hit story. This story went so viral to a point that it reached the screen of the Katikiro himself. Now, the story was about facts about the Katikiro of Buganda. I was giving factual information. And he invited me to Bulange Mengo, which happens to be the parliament of Buganda. Now, this was such a very huge opportunity for me because so many people fight to get an interview with such a man, and they never do it. But I did. And I remember after walking out of Bulange that day, I asked myself, what exactly was special about this story? Why did it move faster than any other story? Like, what in this story made it so special? And the realization I came to was that I may be having something in similar with the extra passenger. So that is the interview that we conducted, because obviously I had to use that opportunity. Now I want us to play a game, and the game is called Put a Finger Down. Put a Finger Down is a game where you raise your hand. Today we are going to be using only one hand. And I give you a list of statements. For every statement that applies to you, you put a finger down, and in the end, we shall be able to see who does it apply to the most. So put a finger down if someone has ever shared with you a video or an image or a text, any piece of content. Put a finger down if you looked at this piece of content and quickly thought, oh my God, something is off about this. Maybe it's AI generated, it could have been false, but you have noticed. Now put a finger down if you try to explain to this person that this is false, but they couldn't believe you because you didn't have evidence. Put a finger down if at that moment you realized how fast false information can spread and you can't even save your loved ones. Put a finger down if you participated in this game. Okay, now that takes us to the next slide. Here is a very cool project that I worked on. It is called Fact Lens. Now, Fact Lens is a show that you can find on YouTube. And what it does, it looks for viral claims on the internet. Because you know we have so many of those on the internet. So it looks for them. It verifies them, like it puts them under a microphone. It separates fact from fiction. It gives you a verdict. So in the end, you know that this is true or false because of this and this. And on top of that, it gives you the tools to verify the information for yourself. So you walk away with a full package.
A viral audio recording circulating on X claims to capture a private conversation between former Minister Maria Matembe and leader of opposition in Parliament, Joel Sending.
That's the part that I wanted you to see. Did you see how I pulled the person to, whisper? Those are some of the few tricks that you can use to captivate audiences. Now let us look at the information ecosystem. This is an AI-generated representation, but you can see. This is factual information, and on the side we can see mis and disinformation trying to come to the factual information. The truth is, we have factual information in the information ecosystem. But the other truth is, false information moves faster than the factual information. We have factual information from journalists, academic researchers, all those bodies, you can see them there. Which takes me to a question. How can we journalists, storytellers, content creators package factual information in a way that is cool, in a way that is entertaining and captivating enough so that we can attract our audiences to watch our story from the beginning to the end? Which takes me to my answer, which I would like to call my tip, because I'm not saying everyone should do this, but just imagine if we all did. Just imagine if we all contributed to the information ecosystem, packaging this information in a way that attracts our audiences. Think about it like Fact Lens, but bigger. We are seeing it in mainstream media, we are listening to it on radio, and we are reading it in the daily newspapers that we buy. Now, you may wonder, why does this really matter? Why should people who contribute to this ecosystem package their information in a way that attracts them, but also teaches them to be cautious and stay curious? Now, when a journalist fact checks quietly, their result remains with them. But when they show you how they got to this fact, you will know that, hey, I can also do this and come to this conclusion. Now, audiences are increasingly becoming skeptical about the media. You know, there is so much information, they don't know what to trust. So if we show how we verify this information, but remember, we are doing it in a fun and captivating way. If we do that, we are getting back the credibility. Now, if journalists normalize questions like who is the source, what evidence supports this, and who benefits if I believe in this piece of information that I am presented with, when audiences get these questions, like they see them all the time, they will develop that curiosity. The first instinct they will have every time they come across information is to question it. And if journalists start creating factual information fun and catchy, they become educators, they become critical thinking advocates and builders of a woke community. I would like to contribute to our woke community, and I hope you also get the interest to contribute to it. Now, this is the end, but before I leave this stage, I would like to ask those that just flew into Uganda, please find time to take a taxi ride. It's very safe, I promise. Safer than the borders, just for you to get the experience. And to anyone that uses a taxi on a daily, or you're going to stay in Uganda to see taxis moving on the road, I hope every time you see a taxi, you remember that in this world we have false information. It could be misinformation, disinformation, and all this information is coming to you. So if you don't stay curious, and if we don't try to contribute to the ecosystem of healthy information, then who will? Thank you.